What happens to us after we die? Do we cease to exist, or do we live on? This may be the biggest question that mankind has ever asked, as well as what this podcast is about. In this show, we will examine past life memories, speak with professional hypnotherapists, astral projection practitioners, psychics, and much more, all in an attempt to decipher this riddle. So welcome to the puzzle. Welcome to the regression session. Welcome back to the regression session. My name is Ian. This week we're going to be hearing from Arturo Vega. And Arturo is an artist located in Arlington, Virginia. He was born and raised in Peru and has been interested in the occult and energy work since he was a child. He also has aphantasia and is an ex-Mormon, so we got a lot in common. He practices meditation, astral projection, sigil magic, and other forms of creative expression. And his art and Instagram are going to be linked in my description, so if you get a chance, head on over and check that out because he's got some really interesting pieces, and he said that he would be willing to make some prints and sell them. So head on over there and check those out if you're interested. If you want to come on the podcast and share your past life experiences or your knowledge on any metaphysical topic, shoot me an email. My email is theregressionsession@gmail.com. Head on over to my Facebook or my Twitter. Follow me there. I post some additional content as well as show updates. It's the Regression Session Podcast on Facebook and at Regression Session on Twitter, also linked in this description. And here is my interview with Arturo. Hey Arturo, thanks for coming on to the show.
Hi there, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, 100%. And I know that we've already been talking for a million years.
All right.
if you could just real quick, just introduce yourself to the rest of the audience, tell them who you are, kind of maybe a little bit of background about where you come from, maybe some background about your beliefs and how we kind of connected here. That would be great.
Perfect. Yes, thank you so much, Ian. My name is Arturo Vega. I go by Art as well. I am originally from Peru, from South America. I was born in Lima and then moved to the United States when I was about 15 years old with my family. We've been living here ever since. And so that was kind of my background. Nowadays, I do a lot of art. I try to think about expression and how my body likes to express itself. There's different mediums that it likes to do it in. And then I just explore every single one of them to see which one I like the most. So that's a gist of what I do now and kind of where I came from in a nutshell. And let's see, I am 34 years old and I am partnered. I have a boyfriend. He's been with me for the last 2.5 years of my life. And he's the best. And yeah, that's about it for me. I moved to Virginia about a year ago, and I'm trying to make life happen here, see where it takes me.
Right. And then so you mentioned to me when you first emailed me that you are also an ex-Mormon.
I am not only also an ex-Mormon, I am also a fellow Aphan. I also have aphantasia.
Oh yeah, that's the biggest thing. You also have that one. I totally forgot about that. Aphantasia, whatever you want to call
whichever.
it. There's dozens of us.
There are dozens. I don't know exactly where my aphantasia falls in the realm of being able to visualize or not. I know for sure Like if you take the test, close your eyes and imagine something. I can't imagine shit. But there are times, especially when I'm in meditation and when I'm in like deep trance, where I will get like flashes of image, but they don't stay.
Okay.
It's like a light bulb that turns on and turns off, and then I kind of remember what it was, and then I feel the rest, if that makes sense.
It does. And my brother's the same way. I'm going to actually have him come on the show one of these days, but he has a milder version of aphantasia or aphantasia.
Okay.
I call it aphantasia. Everybody can yell at me if they want to.
Whichever, potato.
Yep. And for him, he's the same way. He can kind of get images sometimes. For me, I can't see anything ever under any circumstances, unless I'm dreaming, which is kind of weird. I can see my dreams, but it's hard for me to. So here's something that's kind of interesting. In high school, I was like a theater geek. So I went to theater, and I had a really hard time like getting into character, because to me, I was just pretending. And I would ask like these other dudes these other girls, guys, whatever, how do you get into character so well? Like you embody this character. And they're like, oh, well, I visualize it in my head.
Yeah.
And
so easy.
Like, yeah. So like, why don't you do that? I'm like, okay, but I just couldn't do it. I could not do it. And that's, I didn't know what was going on. I was like, man, I suck. Like this is the worst. And I can't draw for shit. I can't draw anything. I could draw like a bird, maybe, but like a 2D bird.
I understand that, especially as an artist with aphantasia. That's a whole different topic.
Yeah, and my wife is an artist too, and I'm like, hey, how do you do that? She's like, oh, I just kind of see it in my head, and I'm like, okay, that doesn't help me at all.
Right? Because for me, I can't really see it in my head. So it's interesting because this happens with my partner Teddy and I. I would try to explain something to him, so he'll tell me, describe it to me, and then I'll be like, okay, hold on, because I have no idea how to even begin to describe what I'm imagining. So instead of describing it, let me draw it, because I can kind of feel what it looks like, and I know when it looks correct. Like my eyes see it, and they're like, this is what you're thinking about. And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. So then here you go. And then I can show it. But it's definitely, it's been a struggle, because I try to just draw things from just imagination. And I'm like, if I have to think about it first, close my eyes and visualize something, that's not going to happen. So I just tend to just go with it. And then hopefully the image reveals itself as it goes. So it's been a whole journey, and it's been quite intriguing, this whole art situation for me.
Yeah, I took some art classes, and I was really bad at it. And if aphantasia, whatever, it comes with a whole slew of different issues that people aren't even like aware of. And this isn't even necessarily what I was like ready to talk about in the episode, but here we are.
It's okay. We can jump topics anytime.
Right? But no, it's fine. But it's just weird it's so weird for most people to think about. Like when it comes up in conversation, I'll be like, I sometimes have like memory issues, because there's nothing for me to associate the memory with in my head. Like if my wife is like, hey, go to this grocery store and get this, and this, I'll go and I'll get the first three things, and then just completely like get hyper focused on one or two things and then forget about it. So she's like, she always texts me lists, and she's like, hey, read the list. And then she'll call me like midway through the store, like the shopping. And she'll be like, did you get this? And I'm like, could you stop nagging me, dude?
But thank you for reminding me.
If that's a mistake. You never want to say that. Can you stop nagging me? Yeah, that's a no-go. On the
couch tonight.
Well, she's pregnant too right now, so that's even worse. I learned my lesson real quick.
Well, good thing. You don't want to get it worse.
Right. So as far as like, the aphantasia and stuff, that sucks. I'm just, this is going to sound bad, but I'm glad that somebody else has to suffer with me.
Oh yeah. Misery loves company. Give me that misery. I'll take it.
Yeah. Good. I want someone else to suffer.
Right. uh, in a way, for me though, it's, I don't know if I would say maybe it's a blessing. I don't know if I wanna, because I would much rather, like everybody else, be able to imagine and see what I imagine. But in a way, because I can't see it, I feel like my imagination is that much more fantastical because I can't visualize it. So it can, like, the sky's the limit because I can't actually visualize it. It's just by feeling. So it's like, oh shit, then anything. But I wish that I could, like, this looks like this, or it has a texture like this, or it looks in this color. That completely, like, I'm just guessing at, you know?
Yeah, someone else that came on my show, they asked me, I don't remember who it was because I talked to a lot of people, but he was like, or the person, I don't even remember if they were guy or girl or whatever. They were like, so I wonder what you gained from like surrendering your imagination.
Right.
Which is something weird to think about. Like if and I couldn't tell you if that's even what the case is. We were talking about that episode 20, where it's just my regression recording. In that episode and any regressions that I do, I see nothing. I don't see anything. I just get impressions of things. And the goal of that, and this is context that is missing in the recording because I haven't done, like, I'm going to have a bonus episode. Right. That's a small little announcement where I have like commentary over the actual regression, giving context to everything, because there was a lot more that happened than I actually described. I could only describe like 30%, if that, of what I was experiencing.
Right.
But when I was doing that regression, the goal was to find out two things. The first thing was, why can't I imagine things? That was the first goal. And the second one was, why can't I talk to my guides? But the main focus was, why can't I imagine things? And the answer that came through kind of confused me because she was like, what does Ian need to do in order to access this information, or what's the answer? And I just simply said that information is prohibited, which is kind of weird.
Right. I remember that.
So it just makes me wonder, like, if there is a trade-off, what would it be?
And, maybe sometimes I think that, and this is just maybe me thinking, but the body throughout life, and I've heard this and I've read this, that we tend to store specific memories in our body, like, and a lot of it has to deal with trauma. But even before this life, and even just in the ethers, some of these things just continue to exist. And I wonder if maybe the reason that is not accessible is so that we can work with everything else that we have and try to understand our bodies first. Because, I mean, or maybe I just don't really know. Because
it's a hard question.
It really is. And especially as someone that experiences it and that wishes that it wasn't the case. I mean, I will say, especially when I'm in deep meditation and then I get more sparks and things, I wonder if it has something to do with like chakra imbalancing and also disconnection from your higher essences. And this is me, because clearly I have no clue. Nobody else probably does. But this is all just theoretic. And because as above, so below. So if we're struggling with things, I wonder what their struggle is and why we're disconnected from the thing that is keeping the communication flowing. Because the communication is to be able to visualize what the creative idea is. And if that's the disconnect, then I wonder where the switch is so that we can plug into it,
Yeah. And if we're talking about like life planning, right? If we're or like maybe issues that have carried over from somewhere else, I kind of, in that session, I personally I remember saying I made some kind of an agreement within the context of talking about that. So it makes me wonder if I decided that maybe this would be a challenge I would face in this life. Because, when I was growing up, I was just like, this is just normal. But as I kind of got older, I realized what was happening to me, and it sucks. And I'm just like, oh, that sucks balls, man. I don't like that. But I have heard the chakra thing before. Like, something weird that happened to me a while back is I saw this thing on Reddit, and they were like, hey, I'm a psychic doing like practice, and I'm offering free readings, and I'll connect with your spirit guides and give you a free reading. But you can ask 2 questions. And so I asked, like, why can't I talk to my spirit guides? And another one, I forget. Or what can I do to talk to them? And they were like, yeah, you have a chakra blockage, just out of nowhere. So I have heard that. And then also one of my earliest guests, she was a healer, like an energy healer. In like my first 5 episodes or something like that. Her name was Tia. And she privately told me, because we did like a trade where I did a regression for her and she did her thing for me. And she told me that it had to do with certain chakra blockages as well. So it's interesting you bring that up.
Well, so the body in my mind is the vehicle for your spirit. And the body, like any other vehicle, needs to be taken care of and proper. Like if your car doesn't have fresh oil and you don't change the oil on it, the engine's going to go kaput. If it doesn't have enough water in it, the engine's going to mess up. If you don't replace the pieces that are, broken or repair them, then the vehicle is not going to go at 100%. So the chakras, they not only affect our energy, but they also affect our bodies. And if they're not in proper balance, then your body is not in balance. And if your body is not in balance, then, the communication is not going to be as clear as well.
Right. One other thing to think about too is, have you ever read any of Dolores Cannon's work? I
have read some. I'm familiar with her.
Which ones have you read? Have you read Convoluted Universe?
No.
The first one? Okay.
I don't know that I've read a full book of hers. I've read stories.
Okay. That's fine. So in Convoluted Universe, Dolores Cannon has a patient that's under hypnosis. And what the patient says, and this is a continuation, I think that it's a continuation of a session that she had done with a different client. And they were telling her, like, it just picked up right where it left off, which is amazing in and of itself. But what this person says is that your genetics, like your actual body, is a direct reflection of your spiritual energy.
Oh.
That's what that person says. And that's what Dolores Cannon said, is that whatever your body is a direct reflection of your spiritual energy.
I do agree with that. I am a firm believer of as above, so below. And I know you had I don't remember who it was. You had another guest, and she was like raised Baptist and did a lot of studying in the Bible. And then now she studies it now, but from a more esoteric perspective. One of the things that the Bible speaks of is that before something happens physically, it needs to happen spiritually. So for me, in that specific sense, and quite literally, everything that is here is up there and is up in every single layer of reality. It's just like a redefining of it, like a cleaner version of it, a higher version of it. And it's all tied to each other in the same energy. But just like how we are who we are because of our ancestors and our blood and our system, blah, blah, then up there, they are who they are because of that. And clearly that would affect how we look, just like how we could affect how they behave. Because they're us. Like it's all the same entity down the line. Am I like...
So are you talking about...
I think I'm talking crazy here.
Are you talking like parallel lives, like doing the same things across, like almost like filtering out? Like, so I guess a good analogy is like down here on Earth, you have like big rocks, and nobody's seeing my hands right now.
Right,
But
right.
you
These
got like
big rocks,
big rocks
in front of you.
like we're big rocks, right? Here on Earth. But then like the next level is like a little bit smaller rocks, and then the next level is like a little bit smaller, and so you get like to small, tiny little,
So
like little gravel, and then sand. Is that kind of
so,
like the analogy you're making? So like down here, it's like really big and it's different, but as you move up, it's like slowly filtering out. Is that what you're talking about?
So it's like dense. It's like density. Like this is more dense. This 3D reality, where you have a body, you can't go through things like in the astral, where you put your hand through the wall and you're like, there is no wall. You can literally just walk through depending on which level of the astral you've accessed and which frequency you are linked up on. So then in that same sense, this third degree is dense. You can't do that. So in the higher degrees, especially if you remove time and you remove all these, like you remove the physical body, so you have no body limitations. You remove time, so there is no past, present, future. It all exists in one stream. So you can access anything and everything. At that point, you are basically a fourth dimensional entity that doesn't care for physicality, doesn't care for time, because you exist outside of all of it. So now you're less dense because you're not really physical anymore. You're just like an essence of creation that exists because you exist and you're there. And then in the higher degrees, you just get less and less dense until you reach back at source, kind of in a way that is all encompassing all creation. And it doesn't care about this or that. It's just there because it exists. And I feel like everything sums up to that. Like reality as a whole exists, and we all exist in reality. Therefore, we are all members of this reality, and it's our right to basically live in reality and enjoy life while we're here. And then the higher that we go, the more that we learn, the more that we release our attachments to this earthly plane, then we can come up and then understand some of these higher purposes, because we don't know what they are. They know, and we're not there. So why would we know what their plans and whatever they're doing? That's a whole different reality at that point.
So let me ask you this question. I and a little bit of context. I was trying to provide a little bit of context. So I was listening to this other show, and the gentleman brought a guest on who is an author, and the author is the book, or he authored the book. Gosh, it's been a while. It's something Jordan. It's like Finding Jordan. That's what it's called. That's the book. It's called Finding Jordan. I'll link it in the description for anybody who wants to check it out. But this author guy, he was basically like, he lost his son in a tragic accident, and he came on this show, and he basically was saying that he was communicating with his son, and he's writing a book with his deceased son by channeling. And he was just basically saying that the only reason that we come to this life is to experience pain, right? And you said, and the only reason, I know this is completely just like out of left field, just completely off a different vein, but you said that we come here to enjoy this life. And I'd like to get your thoughts on, there's some people here that believe we come here specifically to experience pain. Do you agree or disagree with that, and why?
I'm going to both agree and disagree with it at the same time. And the reason why is because life, the way that it has been made up to now, at least the way that the rest of the humans behave, is pretty much all about pain. Like, you learn by pain. You learn by trial and error. Like, if you want to do this, you're going to fall down first, experience pain. That teaches you that it was bad or it was whatever. And then you learn, hopefully, and that you don't want to experience pain again. But I feel like the actual point of humanity is not to be in constant trial and pain. It's actually for us to be happy. like for us to create, for us to grow together, and then to see what we can all like accomplish once we're all together. But we never really done that because greed and money and everything else kind of takes precedence in this reality. And it's more important for you to be quote unquote successful than for you to be happy. And that's ridiculous, but that's the way that reality was kind of established for us to kind of put up with it, I guess, and just hope for the best. I completely disagree that that is what we should be doing, but that is how it has been for this whole time. So it is what it is, pretty much.
Yeah, I get that. So when he said that, I kind of like, and I all respect due to the guy, right? I understand he lost his son. That's got to be hard, you know. So I don't blame him for saying that. But I pretty much fully disagree with it. And the reason is because there's so many cool things to experience here. Like, you know, love,
I'm just
joy.
gonna throw in food.
Food? God, I love food, man.
Imagine not being able to taste food. I'm like, oh, like,
Yeah,
if anything, give me a body for that.
That happened to my mom like 10 years ago. She just lost her sense of taste for like 6 months. Yeah. It was, she lost
that hurt me. That hurt me hearing that.
Yeah. Yeah. She lost her sense of taste for like 6 months, and she just, lost like 30 pounds because she stopped eating because there's just no reason. But anyway, food, art, nature, fun, sex, whatever. There's so many cool things to experience here that I can't, like, it feels not correct if I'm just thinking about it. Like if I'm like, okay, if I'm here to experience pain, like, yeah, I've had, like, for the last few years, even, I felt like I've been on the ground getting shit kicked in my face for a long time because of stuff that's gone on in my personal life, not to project on the show or anything, but I still, even with all the hard things I've gone through, I still couldn't get behind that.
Yeah.
Because I like living. I like life, you know?
Yes. And, you know, and in a way, and not to throw anybody or throw blame at something specifically, but in my mind, that's kind of what religion created in this reality, is like shame and pain, and all of a sudden it's because the woman ate the apple that everyone deserves to be in pain forever, and now you're toiling the land and suffering for the rest of your days, and by the sweat of thy brow thou shalt eat thy bread for the rest of thy life. Like, that is like literally Christianity and the way that they establish whatever reality is, which is, I'm like, I am not Christian. I would probably consider myself more of an agnostic now, but really a spiritualist, because I feel like that's not what spirit wants. Like, we've all fallen under this lie, quote unquote, that life has to be this way, but does it really? Like, we haven't tried anything different. We're just grasping at what we think is correct, but we know, is it even correct? Like, we don't know that. They don't even know that. Nobody really knows that.
I have an inherent distrust for religion nowadays because I was balls deep in Mormonism for a long time. And I realized, you know, I looked into the history. I found out Joseph Smith was a pedophile, and I have no shame in saying that. Any Mormons listening, I'm sorry, not sorry. Look it up. It's real. Yeah,
not sorry.
Hashtag not sorry. He was a pedophile. He had literally like 48 wives. He sent dudes on missions and then married their wives in secret, and was like caught plowing his servant, who was also only like 16 years old, and he was like 30 or almost 40, in the barn when his wife like found them. And it was like, that's not something that a man of God would be doing. No. So that's when I left. And so now whenever someone's like, well, the Bible says this, I'm like, dude, you're literally just like, I consider the Bible a work of human fiction almost. And that might be a little controversial for some people. But like whenever someone tries to use the Bible as like oh yeah, well this will show you, I just kind of laugh and I'm like, dude, it's like quoting a comic book to me. It's like, well, this comic book says that you should eat green beans every day or you're gonna be killed.
Right?
It's the
like
same thing.
It's like, oh, if you say something bad, you're gonna go to hell. I'm like, dude, where do you think we're living? Like, this is hell already. Could it get any worse than this? I don't think so. So if anything, it could get better.
Yeah, I hope so.
Right? Shoot.
Yeah.
It's like so in that sense too, like I feel like reality is so much of what we believe and also what we tell ourselves. So if we're constantly like telling ourselves like, oh shit, like we're worthless, like we don't amount for anything, we're gonna die alone, this is this and this, you end up seeing that that's what ends up happening. Like you feel like you're a lonely person, you feel like you're gonna die alone. You're probably gonna end up.
It's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Literally, because words have so much magic to them, and we're not aware of how much power our words have. Like your thoughts lead to your words lead to your actions, and we're not that much aware about it. But if you start paying attention and you start making changes on the way that you think, you'll find that the way you speak changes, and then your interactions change, and the way you do things change. And then all of a sudden you look at yourself and you're like, who am I? Like I'm a whole different person because I've been doing all these changes.
Yeah, when I was again, I'm going to go back to my angsty high school days when I didn't even look in the mirror. Like I hated the way, and even when we first got on this call, I was like, yeah, man, I'm ugly. Like I used to fully believe that. I wouldn't even like,
stop that.
Right. I wouldn't even look in the mirror in high school for like a year and a half. Cause I was just like, I hated myself for some reason. I don't even know why at the time. And so like,
it wasn't even you though. It's what's around you that makes you feel like that.
Yeah. And well, to what you were saying though, what I did is I kind of got sick of it. I was like, why am I feeling this way? I don't understand why. Like it's been like a year. So I decided one day to look myself and it kind of sounds silly, but it changed my life. I swear to God, if anybody, and by the way, if anybody out there is feeling like that, just as a side note, please talk to somebody, get some help. The any suicide hotline numbers, as many as I can find, will be linked in the description. So get help for that, please. You can even reach out to me if you need to. But this one thing really changed my perspective on life. And it was so simple, you wouldn't even think about it. I decided to look at myself dead in the eyes and just smile at myself. One time a day, I was like, okay, I'm just going to smile at myself one time a day. The first time I did it, my lips split in half.
Oh.
I had like dry lips and my lips split open and I was like, God damn it. It's like the one time I tried to do this. It's like, yeah, that's what you get for trying to smile at yourself, dumbass. But anyway, I smiled at myself and I started doing it. So every day I would just smile at myself once in the mirror. And then I was like, okay, I think I'm ready to bump it up to 2 times a day. So then 2 times a day, once in the morning, I'd smile at myself. Then once at night, I would smile at myself. And then it got to the point where every time I would walk by like a window or a car piece of glass or any reflective surface, I'd give it this like janky ass, like smile. I'm going to post a picture on my Facebook page about the smile I would do. Just like that dumbass smile. But, it seriously changed. Just that one choice of like, I'm going to smile at myself. It really changed my whole entire life. And I didn't realize what it was doing, but it was way powerful. So you're absolutely right.
Oh yeah, dude. Like it's perspective. Like once you change your perspective and the way you're looking at something, it's like a whole different picture. So this is something that I learned, especially through art. I like to paint and I like to do things with my hands. So sometimes when you're painting, you're like, you want to reach a specific side of the canvas and it's going to be kind of hard for your body to just reach it because you're used to working in a specific quadrant of your arms movement. I don't know if I'm making all these hand movements and no one's going to see it. I feel really silly about it. But so one of the things that you do is you grab your canvas and you flip it so that you can get to those areas easily and not having to stretch yourself and make mistakes later. You just grab the canvas and you flip it. So it's like, shit, like you change your perspective. And that's literally what you do sometimes when you're having all these struggles. Maybe it's just you're looking at it in a specific way. And if you change the way you see it, I wonder what you could see. Like grab the problem, flip it on its head, and then be like, okay, what is this? Like that I found too in life, there aren't many things that are as finite as we say they are. Like we take a lot of things super seriously, which I get it. There's definitely some things that you should take super seriously, but not everything in life has to be that serious. Like if we start letting go of some of our anxiety over things and some of our thinking over other things, we'll find how even our body reacts so different. Like we are surrounded in a life of stress, and we surround ourselves with stress at work, at life, with our families. And that affects our body even more. Like stress ages you, stress makes you sick. Like there are so many things that stress does to your body. And when you start releasing that stress and just leaving it behind, then you start like healing and you start feeling more calm about yourself. I mean, it's crazy because it's all energy, but you're not aware of it. You don't even know that the things that are around you have energy to them. But then, it everything affects you. It affects your aura. It affects your spirit. It affects how you feel, how you think. If you surround yourself with things that make you feel happy, you'll feel happy too. And so I don't know if you've heard of this lady named Marie Kondo before. She's an organizer and declutterer from Japan. And she has this thing that says that you should surround yourself with things that spark joy inside you, because then that's what's going to end up being a reflection of who you are. You're just a joyous person. So that's like a whole different aspect of like, what's it called? Manifesting. You manifest something that you want to be by putting things around you that remind you of that feeling, so that eventually you become that feeling and you become joyous or happy or excited or whatever it is. So if you haven't read it, it's an interesting book, but it's more about just decluttering. But there are some good messages because it's all about how you feel. And at the
What's
end of the
that book
day,
called?
it's called The Magic of Tidying Up by Marie Kondo.
I'll include a link to that in the description.
Yeah, please do. So, I mean, to some people, for me, it helped me too, because I realized that it's like when you live in like a messy space, and people say like, oh, it's a reflection of your mind, like very much so. How you feel up here and how you are up here, it reflects in how you are in the physical. So when you make changes to your physical environment and you put in the work to make things in a way so that it's pleasing to you, then all that work that you did out there will also translate into your brain. And then you'll find things clear up and things seem different because the space around you feels different. Like there's something that is very important. So I've been reading a lot about shamanistic rituals and studies. And one of the things that they discuss is about creating sacred space. And it's so you being ex-Mormon might understand, like how the holiest of holies in the temple is supposed to be the room where you have the presence of God, quote unquote, with you. So this is literally what sacred space is actually supposed to be. It's supposed to be a holy spot that's been set apart and consecrated for you to commune with source and with the heavens, quote unquote. And you open up sacred space so that you give the space around you the energy of like calmness and openness, to give your body the ability to experience all those harsh emotions that you probably haven't been too comfortable doing. It gives you the opportunity to do that in a safe space. And you're not going to be, attacked or interacted with anything negative because you are in a sacred space right now. So create your sacred space and then get it nice and decluttered and pretty, because then that'll also help you feel good inside.
It's all a domino effect, I think.
Literally. Mm-hmm. Yeah. As above, so below. Literally.
Yeah. And, you said something a little while back about like changing your perspective. That's exactly the reason I actually recommend doing a past life regression. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Regardless of whether or not it's real, it's a real experience. And a lot of the time what it allows you to do is take a step outside of yourself and look at yourself from a different perspective. So you'll be the perspective of Nancy, who lived 200 years ago, and she'll be like, oh, well, here, this is what Arturo needs in order to get past this problem that he's running into. Obviously, that's all just an example, but that's kind of what happens most of the times. Like a lot of the times, the practitioner or the hypnotherapist will be like, what does Arturo need to know to move past this block? So I recommend, reaching out to somebody if anybody is interested in looking at their life from another perspective. I've talked to like a million different people on my show that you could look into. I have all their links in the description, but if not, you can just find someone online. A lot of people will do it online too. Have you ever done, Arturo, past life regression?
I did. It was in Texas about 3 or 4 years ago. I still have I guess I was fortunate that throughout my years, I was able to collect somewhat expensive toys, like a nice recording camera. So I was able to record myself while I was down in the bed. And I think it's like an hour and a half of footage that I have. And it's just her asking me the questions and I'm responding to her questions. And yeah, there were some definitely very interesting topics in the past life regression. And like you said, I don't even know if half of this stuff is real or not. But the point is that my body said it for some reason. So it is there and it exists now.
And it probably offered you a unique perspective.
Oh, yes. Very, very much so. Because and then you're thinking, it's like, well, then who was that was talking if it's not me?
Right. Like in I think episode 10 of my show with John, he described a whole ass tribe in Africa and he had no idea about anything about them. And he described everything about the tribe and he didn't know about it. And some people even said like, well, psychic ability and telekinesis has been proven to be real. What if one of you guys was projecting on him? I didn't know about it. My wife didn't know about it and his wife didn't know about it. So, okay, where the hell did that come from then?
Right. So in the sense for me, the information that I was giving, I don't know that is so definitely verifiable because it's true, but I've also really learned in that subject. So then for me, it's like, well, then maybe I'm just inserting myself in the story
like
instead
projecting.
Right.
Like makes you feel like you're making it up.
Literally. But then again, it's like an hour and a half worth of talking. And I'm aware of what's happening, but it's like some of the things that I'm even saying, I'm like, where do I even, especially someone that has aphantasia, like, where am I coming up with this?
Yeah.
With these, like, so I talked to her. I don't know if you want to, if we have time for me to like give you any details or anything.
No, go for it. I am totally down to hear it. It's totally awesome. Fine. You tell me whatever you want me to know.
Okay. So in one of the, because we went to 4 different places as we were regressing. Like she would tell me like go outside of time and space and just see what you feel drawn to and then go there. So one of them, I went to this. It was this lake, and the lake was, and I can't really describe it, but I can describe the feelings that I had. So it felt really dangerous to be around this lake. And she was like, well, get closer to it. And I'm like, I can't, because it literally feels like if I get closer to it, I will die, because things are dying around this lake. Like there's dead things all over it. Like the feeling of death is everywhere. So then she had me just float around, and then I saw that there was a waterfall that had water running down to this lake of pure evil energy. And on top of this, the waterfall, there was this rock that was pretty much like a crystal. And the crystal was pulsating all this energy. And it was, water was flowing from this rock down into this lake that was corrupted. So I tell her that I'm here to move the rock and to push it, but I can't do it alone. So there are animals that are grazing from the water, from the stone, and they come and they help me push the stone, and it falls down into the lake. And then the lake, because of the energy of the stone, it gets transformed into this pure water, and all the life that had died inside the lake comes back to life, and there's fish and everything. And then I go inside the water, and I notice that this stone is actually blocking a hole underneath this lake. So I let the current carry me, and I go inside the hole of this lake where the whole energy was coming from, this evil entity. And then I tell her that I'm apparently inside this tomb with this person that has been put there as punishment, kind of like self-inflicted punishment due to his previous experience, that he had been a very wicked individual that had done all this like murder and all these negative things. And that's why he ended there. And that was his punishment, to be there. And then I was here to help him understand that what he did, and it didn't have to define who he was going to be in the future. And then I tell her that I'm apparently this person that I've been describing to her. I'm him. So then I'm like, okay, well then hold on, because I can't imagine anything, but I'm telling you about some lake somewhere, and I'm telling you about this energy, and I'm telling you about this being, and I'm giving you all this backstory, and I'm like, where's any of this coming from? Because maybe I'm a storyteller that makes up some real good shit, or maybe it's just my subconscious just speaking, you know?
Yeah,
and even if it was,
stories are cool regardless.
Literally, I took some of it, because who knows if it's true or not. And I'm not gonna sit here and try to debate what's real or what wasn't, in the sense of a past life regression. But guess what? I can grab some of that information and use it. So it's like you're saying, like you take another perspective. So then I'm like, okay, from this perspective, this is what happened. So I'm going to take that and I'm going to talk about it in a different perspective now. And, because at the end of the day, life, I feel like it's just memories that are put together into what you call your life. So these are memories that maybe happen in a different reality, or maybe happen in the past, or maybe haven't happened yet. But you can kind of gain that information and then do what you want with it. It's not, at that point, it's up to you.
Yeah. And when I first started this show, and when I first started doing past life regression, I kind of was like of the whole attitude of like, we got to prove this is real. But this, like, because I was all about trying to get a scientific explanation. I was all about the proof. Slowly over time of doing this show and regressing people who have like crazy stories of like living on other worlds and all this weird shit that's going on in these regressions, like you get to a point where you're like, okay, it's not my job to prove this is real. It's my job to guide people through these experiences. And it was your job to just have the experience.
Yeah, just literally have it. That's it. You don't have to, if you don't get anything out of it, that's fine. At least you experience what this other perspective is.
Right.
You know?
Yep.
And that brings me to another point too, because so I don't know if you've ever, and maybe like some people will be like, oh my goodness, but there's been a couple times in my life that I've tried magic mushrooms, and in those times I've had some very interesting experiences, but it's more of like, I call them like downloads sometimes, because it's like you get like an idea, but it's not just an idea, it's like a whole concept. And then it's like, oh shit. And then that understanding kind of clarifies a lot of other things that I've been kind of like questioning. So specifically, one of these last times, I had this, because we were talking about perspective. So I was thinking about specifically perspectives. So when I close my eyes and I imagine about reality specifically, what is reality? So I feel like reality has so many different layers to it. Like the first layer of reality is non-existence. Like just closing your eyes, not listening, not hearing, not anything. It just because you can't like see anything or you can't hear anything, it doesn't mean that you're not there. So that's like layer 0 for me, is non-existence. And just because you don't physically exist, it doesn't mean that you're not actually in existence in the universe. So like source in my mind would be kind of that. It's both existing and non-existing that exists at the same time. And it just is. Like I am that I am, quote unquote, just because you are. And that source, just it exists because it is. So then you move on to the next layer of reality, which is like you being able to see things and you being able to interact with things. So then that's like the first person in the sense. Then the second layer of reality is people interacting with you. And then the fourth would be when people are working together in unison, like an orchestra. And then the thing that gets developed out of all of them combined would be the fourth perspective. And then it just keeps going and it keeps going and it keeps going. And then reality is getting all of that, putting it in one big sandwich that is sitting on top of each other and that exists and that continues to grow and expand because it's what the universe does. Yeah, that's like reality in a nutshell in Art's head.
There you go. Maybe we should call it the episode "Reality in a Nutshell," right?
Right, something like that.
Right on. Well, I usually let people plug their websites and stuff on my show, as you probably know from listening. Yes. But you're an artist, and is that your art in the background here?
This is, and if you can see the screen, you'll be able to see some of the things that I've painted and I've made, and I've also worked with stained glass, but they're not over here; they're in the other room.
They're very colorful. They're very almost like they're very happy looking. They're very that's but if you want to link your Instagram and stuff so that people can go check out your art. I don't know if you like sell prints or anything.
I mean, I haven't, but if anyone would like to buy anything, I'm happy to put it in the mail out for you. My Instagram is at Peruvian Art. So that's one word, Peruvian, because that's where I'm from. Art is my name. So at Peruvian Art is my Instagram, and I think also my Facebook, and pretty much anywhere that there's any social media aspect, I use Peruvian Art in there. So that's where you will find me.
That's wonderful. And I will include links to all of Arturo's artwork and his Instagram and all that stuff in the description. So make sure that you go check those out because they are very happy and very interesting. I've been looking at them the entire time we've been doing the episode. And Arturo, thank you so much for coming onto my show and talking with me. It almost felt like one of those conversations that you would have when you're really, really high.
Right. I didn't say that I took anything before we started. Just kidding. But definitely, because this may just be me, but and also my shamanistic thinking, because there is such a thing as plant medicine. So like ayahuasca, peyote, weed, like marijuana, those are all sacred plants that were provided for us to literally learn. We have mushrooms as well. They grow from the ground. The earth brings them forth for you to take them and then explore your mind. And literally, like, which is why when people are high a little bit, they have the wildest discussions and may not even remember what they said. Like, because a lot of it may not be your conscious talking, maybe your subconscious. You're finally tapping into that other perspective. You can explore things differently. Anyway, that's my subject. But getting back to my paintings, I do love I love painting, but I want to talk about, see this one right here? That one is I'm like pointing to the screen. It's called I Am a Singer. And I like to incorporate magic into my paintings. And this, we were discussing about words and the power that words have, and how in my mind, words are magic. Anything you say can be reality. So it just depends on, like, be careful what you wish for, be careful what you say, because literally it can just happen. So that, I made a sigil because I love sigil making. And this is what that is. So that's my sigil for I Am a Singer, to remind myself and to align myself with that aspect of me that I've let go for so long.
That's awesome. Yeah. And like I said, I'll include links to all your art stuff in the description. Thank you so much for coming on to my show. You know, I really appreciate you listening, and people like you that email me and let me know that you enjoy the show and that you want to come on the show. It really keeps me going. So thank you so much for your support, Arturo. I really appreciate it, man.
Ian, thank you so much for having me on. This was so much fun. I feel so privileged to even be on your show as a listener, because I've been listening to you and I've been listening to the stories, and your perspective and the way you see things is just so fascinating, and you're so open about wanting to learn that it's great. It's great listening to you. It's great listening to your journey and seeing where Regression Sessions is gonna go. I'm 100% down for your activity, sir.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you so much. That's it for today's episode. I'd like to thank Arturo for coming on to the show, and I would also like to thank you for tuning in. Like I said at the beginning of the episode, head on over to my Facebook or my Twitter. There's links in the description. I post show updates on there, as well as some bonus content that I think a lot of you would really enjoy. I'm probably going to get on Instagram here soon, so I'll let you guys know about that. If you like the show, I'd appreciate you subscribing in your podcast player and sharing the show around with anyone you think might be interested, or even someone who you think would be interested in coming onto the show. If you're interested in coming onto the podcast and talking with me about your experiences, send me an email. My email is theregressionsession@gmail.com, and I would love to have you on the show. And before we get too carried away. I was going to tell you back to this
right.
this conversation. This is one of my favorite shows. This art is from The Rising of the Shield Hero.
What? Oh,
and this is
Shield
Raftalia.
Hero. Is this the little girl that has the impossible shield, the impossible outfit that kills everything at once? Or is it someone else?
This is Raftalia. Have you ever seen The Rising of the Shield Hero?
No.
So this guy gets summoned like isekai to another world, and there's 4 heroes. One's a bow, a sword, a spear, and then he gets stuck with a shield one.
Oh.
It's awesome. It's like one of my favorite ones ever because it's super dark. But anyway, it's really, really good. We'll have to, after we get actually recording the episode, we'll have to talk more about that. Or we can just email like a list of like, here's my favorite show you gotta check out.
I will take that list and I will watch every single one of them. If you like it, Ian, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna love it.
Yeah, well, I like a lot. I can watch like really good ones and I can with that, but then I can also watch like the shittiest animes out there and just be like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm just kind of zonking out. But anyway. I'd like to thank Arturo for coming onto the show, and I would God damn it.